up one of my best friends, Ryan Stemmerik. Can you give it up for Ryan? He's going to be speaking tonight. He told me he's super nervous, and so if he's just sweating profusely this whole time, just ignore that. No, I'm just kidding. He's going to do awesome, and so give it up for him one more time, and I'll give him the mic.
Thank you, Brandon. By the way, I sweat profusely anyways, so if I sweat, I sweat. That's just how it is. Mark understands. So how's everyone doing tonight? Dude, am I really loud? Do I sound loud?
No.
No? Cool, awesome. I was hoping the mic would make my voice sound deeper, because I think it's really high, so if I sound like an elf, let me know. So again, Brendan's introducing our brand new series, Things I Wish Jesus Never Said. This is really challenging when we planned this like 5 months ago. And so for like 5 months, all the kingdom leaders were like, there's a lot of things I wish Jesus never said. So narrowing it down is kind of tough. But I'm really excited to share what I have with you guys tonight. Before we get into it, I'm going to go ahead and pray. Cool? All right. God, we thank you so much for everything that you do for us, and just for even giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. We feel blessed by you and honored by you, God. So I just pray tonight that as we receive your word, that we can be touched by it, that we can be moved by it, and that we can be changed by it, God. Because you call us to be changed and to help change others. So we ask for your help in that. We ask that our hearts be completely open to what you have for us tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, so I was actually less nervous till Brendan said something, so thank you. So real quick again, my name's Ryan. I'm actually in charge of a lot of the media stuff and help out with production a little bit, but you guys probably notice me more standing over there on Sunday mornings and Sunday evenings. By the way, I want to give a round of applause to the worship team. That was awesome. It's a good time. Logan killed it on the bass, bro. That was awesome. So I now have a replacement. Only like 3 people heard that and laughed, and they're laughing about something else. It made me feel good though, because I thought you were laughing at my joke. Anyway, so I just want to say it's an honor to be up here, and I'm like I said, super excited. So before I get into our scripture for tonight, I'm going to give you guys a little background about me, okay? Because this isn't a great time for me to just talk about myself for a little while and not feel like I'm being prideful and arrogant. No? Okay. If you guys know me really well, you don't like to talk about myself anyways. So first off, what I'm going to talk about tonight is families. And I'm going to start off with, I absolutely love my family. Okay? Don't we all love our families?
Yeah.
Let's give a round of applause for our families. This is really cool. They clap when you tell them to. That's awesome. I have 2 parents, obviously, because that's how children are born. And I have one older sister. My parents are still married, which, considering I come from a non-Christian family, I think that's pretty impressive, And it's been really cool, like, growing up as first a non-Christian then a Christian, seeing like how my life has changed and how their lives has changed, and that's what we're going to talk about a bit tonight. But real quick, so my mother, Susan, is probably one of the most loving and giving people I've ever had the privilege of knowing. I remember growing up, I'd be like, hey mom, Brendan and all of our like 18 friends are going to come over tonight, an hour before we get there, and she's like, okay, and she'll make sure there's like food in the house or something, and she'd let us play Rock Band till like 4 a.m, which I don't know if you guys ever played Rock Band, but when you play the drum set, it's like you're banging like pot lids together. It's crazy loud, and Brendan tend to miss sometimes, and he'd hit just like plastic on wood. So she'd wake up the next morning and be like, can you ask Brendan to play softer next time? No, I'm just kidding. It's actually our friend Devin. I just wanted to make it relevant to Brendan right now. And then my dad is an incredibly hardworking guy. I remember since I was a baby all the way up until I was about 21. He actually used to work in the restaurant business, so he would go into work at like 3 p.m. and get home at 4 a.m. And that was what he did for years and years. So I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him, but he was really cool as his work ethic. He's like, I need to provide for my family, which is really awesome. I really take that as part of my work ethic, but I try to work during the day so I can spend time with people. And then I have my older sister, who is one of my best friends in the entire world. Outside of Brendan and my lovely fiance Tiffany, who I get married to in like 6 weeks. I had to shout that out. Brendan got to do it when he was engaged, so I get to do it too. My older sister's really awesome, and she'll call me up and we'll just talk, and she always checks in with me, which is really cool. And because of her, my family continues to grow. She actually just got married this last February, and she, before her and her now husband moved to Michigan, she said, hey Ryan, can you officiate the wedding? you're into that whole Christian thing. So I was like, sure, why not? That was a terrible choice. Very nerve-wracking. It was very stressful for me. I didn't really care about the bride so much. I was more like, I don't want to mess this up. So Pastor Doug, I have huge respect for you for doing weddings every weekend. That is hard, okay?
Not after 1,000.
Well, not after 1,000, correct. But I'm like, which verse should I use? Should I talk about the Bible? So, but it was a lot of fun. And then, again, she's continuing to make our family grow because my sister just found out this week she's pregnant. So I get to be an uncle, which is awesome for me. I mean, I'm like a pseudo-uncle because Tiffany has a nephew, but this is like my bloodline. So it's a little bit different, but I love my other nephew. Like I said, I love my family, but if you asked me 6 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said that because I was stubborn and arrogant then. But also because I used to fight with them all the time. Like when I turned 18, I'm like, all right, I'm out of here, going off to college. And there's some tension there, but even before then, like growing up, I fought with my sister nonstop. Like, it was like, there was a lot of blood drawn, I think, mostly from her clawing at me. But, I would bite her, she'd pull my hair, she'd throw shoes at me, I'd throw my favorite toys at her. It was a good time, if you enjoy fighting. But, that was like our whole childhood. I remember, and even like, going up into college, when I was like 19, we got in a fight at Christmas, and I just bought her these really awesome boots, which I can't shoe shop, but I did a great job, I think. She got mad at me the next day and threw them at my head.
Wow.
And then she was like, I hate you so much, and socked me right in the eye.
Whoa.
But I felt awesome because it didn't hurt. So I was like, I'm pretty cool right now. But so that was kind of like our relationship up until a couple years ago. And then even with my dad, I don't know, some of you guys might have this experience, like, you like mess around with your buddies, with your dad, and then there's like a line that it's like, oh, it's fun up until this point, and once you pass that point, it goes really bad really fast. Okay? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Okay, that happened with my dad consistently. And when I was young, he'd just kind of be like, push me down, like, yeah, you can't take me. But by the time I was 16, 17, I was about the size I am now, and I wrestled. So I was able to take him down pretty easily. And we kind of crossed that line one time, and I definitely kind of put him in a chokehold, and he almost passed out. So I was like, all right, I'm never going to this point again, because I almost just killed my dad. And I know you guys are like, wow, Ryan, these are all really violent stories about your childhood. I'm not a violent person. If you ask most of the people here, I'm a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Just don't make me angry. Okay? You won't like me when I'm angry. There we go. I was waiting for it. I was like, I hope this doesn't miss like some of Brendan's do. I love you, Brendan, so much. So as I was prepping for this message, I had to ask myself, well, why did I fight with my family? You know, when we think about it, when we get in arguments and conflicts, why are we doing it? For me, I found it's because I just wanted to be independent. I wanted to not be told what to do. I wanted to just do my own thing, and my family didn't let me. Like, do you guys have parents or siblings who like tell you what to do? You know, raise your hands. You guys have? No? Only half of you? Okay, Alexa, I know that your sister tells you what to do sometimes. I know your sister tells you to do sometimes. It's like a give and take. It's, I told my sister too, even though she was older. She just pushed me down when I was a kid. So I realized like, oh, I always get in arguments with them because I want to do my own thing. And I think that's a pretty common thing as like students and young adults. Like, we want independence. We want to go out on our own. We want to live our own lives, have our own ideas, express our own like feelings and creativity, right? Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, everyone nodded. Awesome. What that can do, though, is when you go to your family and say, well, I believe this is the right thing, and they're like, no, it's not, that's dumb. It can cause conflict with them, yeah? Like, you get in those arguments. So, I mean, does anybody else in this room, like, really want independence from their family sometimes? Whether you still live with them or not? Sometimes you're like, can you just back off, Mom? My mom is still in my business. And granted, I live with her, and I will for the next, like, month and a half or whatever, but she's like, Ryan, you need to take care of your finances. I'm like, Mom, I'm an adult, okay? But if that's not the reason you get in conflicts, you want independence, maybe there's another reason. Maybe it's, your family hurt you in the past. Or, some other reason that you kind of start to get in fights with them. Maybe you just enjoy getting in arguments. I know there's probably one person in this room that's like that. With that, and then I'm thinking, okay, so if it's not just independence, there's so many other things we can get arguments about. And there's a bunch of dumb things we get in arguments about, right? Like what you get to watch on TV. Favorite sports team. Which college is better? Go Pack. He's a UNLV fan, guys, come on. How that hit? That did not hit at all. But we get in arguments over dumb things. Like, which is the better Kardashian? Ladies? First off, she's a Jenner, not a Kardashian.
But she's part of
Hashtag
the bloodline.
faced. With that, Chloe?
No, not
What?
even Chloe. Courtney.
Oh, Kanye.
Kanye? Kanye's your favorite Kardashian? Truth. Okay, but we get in arguments like that with our family. Like, so many arguments with my sister were over who got to take control of the remote. And a few times the remote got broken because we threw it at each other. So I'm just like, but what's the point of those things? They're inconsequential. They mean nothing in the end. But then, let's say we go into our homes. And in my case, I became a Christian, my family wasn't. We try not to talk about our faith. We kind of take a step back from that. And I remember growing up, the rule was, at the dinner tables where we talked about everything, the rule was no religion, no politics. So that was what I knew my entire youth. Okay, even I became a Christian. So I was like, how do I break out of that? And I mean, I tried a little bit, but because my family said that was a rule, because they wanted to keep the peace in the house, I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of hide my faith, put it in my back pocket. I'm going to sit here and be quiet about it. And I mean, that's an issue. Would you guys agree? Yeah. Especially when you're like, hey, my life has changed. I don't want to talk about it. You know? So I want you guys to ask yourself, actually, how often do you talk about your faith with your family? Just like in the last week, last month, last year? Can you guys like count how many times on like one hand? Felicia, you can count on one hand? Logan, cool. How about on two hands? Can you do it on two hands? Do you need more? Yeah. Sometimes? Okay. You guys are rock stars then. But I can say one hand's holding a mic, but mine's like this, probably. You know, that again, that's an issue. Because we're like, we don't want to share that. We try to hide it. And so, my big question that I'm going to address tonight is, so where do we find the balance between, I'm going to finish it once it goes up. I'll just ask it. So where do we find the balance between honoring our faith and honoring our family? Okay? Ooh, heavy question. I was hoping you guys get more hyped about that.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Brendan. So the answer to this, and what I'll be talking about tonight, is something that I wish Jesus had never said. Like, ever. I'm cool with all the other tough things. Some of the things that the other leaders would be talking about, I was like, oh yeah, I'm cool with that. That's awesome. What I'm going to talk about, I was like, this is a struggle. Okay? So, Jesus' answer to this is kind of like simple but hard. And it's, we choose Him first, no matter what. And when we choose Jesus, we choose the conflict. Okay? So, especially if your family's non-Christian like mine. And even if sometimes your family's Christian and they're kind of like, oh yeah, we believe, but we don't talk about it, it can cause conflict with them as well. So we're actually going to see this in a couple verses in Matthew 10. And so it's going to be Matthew 10 verses 34 through 37. They're going to be up on the screen. Boom, there it is. And we're going to read it together. Okay?
Okay.
Sound good? All right. 3, 2, 1. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. What? Just that first verse. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. You're Jesus. You're supposed to bring peace, I thought. Second one. For I have come to set man against his father and a daughter against her mother. What? That's so crazy. I have a hard time with that. It's actually, I think we're missing a little piece in there too. They're supposed to say, I have not come to bring peace but a sword. But that's okay. But that's kind of a big deal. So he says, I haven't come to bring peace, but I've come to bring a sword. If we look at Luke, like this similar passage about the same subject, he uses the word division instead of sword, which gives us like an idea of, what does a sword or a knife do, guys?
What?
Cuts. Someone say divides? Did you guys read my notes? You did? Okay, well, that's cheating. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a sword cuts or divides. It takes one whole and pulls it apart. Well, cuts it apart and makes two. Jesus is saying, I didn't come to bring your family together. I came to cut it apart. Okay? I love my family. Can we put the verse back up real quick? I'm pointing to it, there's no reference. I love my family, but Jesus is saying that I have to be divided from them. That's hard. Just think about that for a second. Yeah, my family doesn't choose Jesus first. All right, then you can't be with them. You're not on the same side with them. He says he's going to pit family member against family member. We already fight enough as it is with our family. When we choose faith first, it's like, all right, guess what? It went from a battle to a full-on war. Iron Man versus Captain America in this household right now. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, that's heavy stuff. That's a big deal to us. And, when you choose faith, this happens. Some of you, I'm going to be honest, some people in this room probably just choose to have more conflict with their family anyways, and they don't even care about the faith aspect, which is a whole other issue. It's part of this, So, we look at this, and that doesn't sound fun, right, guys? Right, and this we can kind of see more of this in Matthew 12:30. Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. Jesus is saying, if you're not on his side, you're against him. So if I'm Jesus' allies and my family doesn't choose Jesus first, who are they? His enemies. That's even crazy. Think about that. It's one thing to pit family member against family member. It's another to say, my family is now my enemy. Could you guys imagine just caring about people so much just to find out that they're not on the same side? That they're your enemy? That in the grand scheme of the war of faith, they are on the opposite side of the lines. That's tough for me. I've been distraught over this, thinking about this with my family, praying for them. And it's growing up, it made it really hard for me to be a Christian. To the point where I had to give up. I had to stop talking to them about these things. Because I didn't want to have that division. I didn't want to accept the fact that they were not on my side. I want to read verse 37 again as well, because there's another point I kind of point out in there. So, whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So what Jesus is saying is, they're going to be your enemy, but if you don't let them be your enemy and you choose them, you're not worthy to follow me. Jesus says bye. Brennan talked about this last week or the week before, where he said he's either God of everything or God of nothing. Jesus doesn't give us much room here. He says, you're either on my side or you're not, and if you're not, you can go. I don't know about you guys, but if I made a choice, I made a choice to follow Jesus, I don't want him to tell me to leave. I don't want him to tell me that I don't get to fight alongside him. And that's to me, that just, it really hurts to think about that. And that's the reality of what Jesus is saying here. And so, what the point I'm getting out of this then is that we have to choose faith over family. Every time. God first, no matter what. And that's hard. Especially when we're still struggling and when we're still trying to figure out what it means to be a Christian. And like I said, growing up, this is hard for me. Because when I first became a Christian, I tried to share the gospel. I tried to share my faith. I tried to tell my family what the right thing was to do. I was talking with my cousin Rachel, and she had asked me about heaven and hell, and me being a very ignorant Christian at the time. I was like, said a really dumb answer, but it was true. And she said, well, you're arrogant. How can you have the only answer? Okay, it hurt, because I'm close with her. My sister, I'd start talking about my faith, and she would say, you know what, I don't want to hear about it, I'm just going to get mad at you because you think you're right. You can't prove any of it. My dad just ignored me. And then my mom, it's probably hurt the most, because I'm really close with her. I would tell her, and she'd be like, oh, that's nice, honey. Whose moms do that here? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you guys feel my struggle. It's like, thanks, Mom. Good to know that you're listening. So at that point, I lost all my hope. I was like, there's no point in trying anymore. But as I grew in my faith and as I matured spiritually, I learned that there is hope. Just because my family's my enemy doesn't mean they can't become my ally. And the only way is through Jesus. Amen? So, my next question is, how do we go about putting Jesus first and then also bringing our family to our beliefs, to our faith, to Christianity? And it's very simple. Very simple answer. You guys are going to be like, Ryan, you do need to do a whole sermon just to tell us this. And I'm going to say that's true, but I'm going to emphasize that it's not an easy task. And it is our calling. So, how we do it is we show them the love of Christ by reflecting His image, love, and glory. Boom, mind explosion. I would drop the mic, but I don't want to dent it. Come on, guys. Isn't that like Christianity 101? It's like, oh, I'm a Christian. That's what I'm supposed to do. How hard is that? It's pretty hard. And then I got a few verses to kind of like back this up. So in Matthew 5:14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand. And it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. And that's a lot right there. But what he's basically saying is, when we let the light of Christ shine forth, we give glory to God, and people are attracted to that. When you're in a dark cave, do you go deeper into the darkness, or do you head for the entrance where the light is? Even if you're like, I don't care, you're gonna go for the light. One, because darkness is scary. There could be monsters in there. But two, it's what we're attracted to. And people are changed by that. People see the light of God and the glory of God and Jesus coming out of us. They say, whoa, that person's different. Okay? I just think about, my testimony, how I was saved, was because of this. Okay, so I became a Christian when I was about 16 years old at a summer camp, so go to summer camp. And I'd been going to church for 2 years at the time. I'd been playing in the worship band for 1.5 years as a non-Christian. Okay? I'd been going to small group faithfully every Wednesday and was like, I'm just investigating. Okay? All my friends were Christians that I hung out with on the weekend. Okay? And I finally went to youth camp. After I didn't go the first year because I was like, I got better stuff to do. I want to talk about Jesus. But the second year, Brendan and our friend Devin were like, just go to camp. We'll have a good time. It'll be fun. There's lots of food. And I was like, food? I'll go. So we're at this camp, and I'm having a good time hanging out with my friends. And then one night, they're talking about the love of Jesus. And I started reflecting on what that meant. And I saw it in all my leaders. I saw it in my youth pastor, Derek. I saw it in my small group leaders, Guy and Mike. I saw it in my friends, Brendan and my friend Devin. And I saw it in all the people in our community. And I was like, this is a real thing. These leaders have been changed by the love of God, by who God is, and they show us that every day. I want that. So that night, I was like, you know what? I give up. God, I need your love. I just want to follow you. And so that night I made the decision to follow Christ. And the next day, because I was like, I'm doing this. We went straight to the ocean and got baptized.
Wow.
And I remember that experience. I can't tell you the day. I can't tell you, I don't even remember what month it was. It was like June or something. July?
August.
It was August. See, I don't even remember. But I remember just my surroundings. And I remember the moment I went into the water. and came back out. And then a wave came and I went back in. So I got double baptized. But I remember that experience, and I was changed by it. Yeah, I made mistakes, but I was changed by it. And that was all because people were reflecting the image of God to me and shining His light forward. Okay? The next verse that I want us to look at, Matthew 5:43 through 44. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So before we said, well, if our family's not with us, they're against us, they're enemies of God. Okay? Well, if they're our enemies, shouldn't we be fighting them? Jesus says, no. Pray for them. Love them. When you love others, they see that. And they're like, well, this love, it's changing. It's like, why, how could you love me? And then we pray for them. I mean, a few years ago, I'm like, oh yeah, prayer, cool, awesome. Since I've been to Oasis, I have seen the power of prayer work. I've seen people be healed. Okay? I've seen people be changed by the power of prayer and the love of God. So it works. The Bible says it works, so it should work, right?
Yeah.
If the Bible's truth, we should believe the Bible. So I mean, it's crazy to think about that. And so the last verse I have right here, 2 Corinthians 5:20. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ, God making His appeal through us. We implore you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. Okay. Who here knows what an ambassador is? All right, Alexa, shout out the definition.
What?
They are representatives of another country in a foreign country.
Yeah? What do they represent?
Their country.
What about that country? Do they represent the food? Because I'd be all over that.
I don't know. The president.
Yeah, like the president.
The president, the leader of that country.
Do they represent the country's ideologies?
No. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alicia.
Everything about it.
Everything about it. So what the country holds dear and what the country values, they represent that and go to other countries and show them that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And help other countries or bring peace to other countries. Okay, so this is actually Paul is talking to the church in Corinth in this verse, and he's telling them, hey, guess what? You're supposed to represent the image of God everywhere you go. What? That's crazy. Shine that light. Pray for them. Love them. Everything you are needs to be what Christ is. And, I mean, we fall short of that sometimes. But not only that, he's saying, when you do that, when you are showing the image of Christ to everybody, they will be reconciled to God. Again, you show them Christ, they will come to Christ. Show them and they will come. So, I mean, Field of Dreams reference, yes. So, I mean, that's awesome to think about. And when we think about that, is that kind of a big task? Sounds simple. But every fiber of your being needs to represent Christ. That's incredibly hard. It's difficult. But it's essential. It's essential to bringing those people you care about and love in your life, your family, your friends, to Jesus. Turning them from foe to ally. Okay? Because, yeah, I'm going to choose Jesus first, and my family my enemies, but I don't want them to stay that way. I want them to come to the side of Christ. So, my main takeaway with this, or that I want you guys to kind of, when you're like, oh, I forgot everything Ryan said, except this one phrase, and I worked on it, so please remember it. Live the faith you want your family to have. Ooh, another mind explosion. What? Drop the mic. I'm just kidding. So think of it this way, okay? I'm gonna plug CrossFit right now. I know I don't look in shape and I like to eat, but I'm gonna talk about CrossFit mainly because my main man Mark here is my coach, and during CrossFit I hate him, but every other time in my life I love him. So CrossFit, in the title there it says CrossFit. You're fit across everything. I'm making that up right now, but a while ago. I decided to, due to my lovely fiance, to make a commitment to get healthy. So I would stop eating canes and start working out. And it's been a tough road, I'm going to tell you right now. But I needed to do it, okay? And what I've been doing is I go around to like my coworkers and everything, and I say, hey, you guys should come do CrossFit with me. Come work out. Come hate your life for about 30 minutes, and then you'll feel better afterwards, I promise. Okay? Not really hate your life, but they're brutal workouts. Now, if I was inviting people to CrossFit, and I was like, yeah, I go to the 6:30 class on Tuesday, and they go there and I'm not there, what do you think they're gonna think? Hypocrite. Faker. I knew you weren't getting thinner. And then they're like, okay, and they call me, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I couldn't make it tonight, I'm gonna go tomorrow. And they're like, okay, I'll go tomorrow. They show up Wednesday night, I'm still not there. Well, they're never gonna come back. And if I want other people to get healthy and to be fit, I need to live that lifestyle too, yeah? If I want my family to, especially. If I'm gonna convince my mom to go to CrossFit, which is an act of God, I'm gonna have to live that life. Same thing with our faith. Same thing with our faith. So the end of my interactions of faith with my family, just to give you guys an update on what's going on with it now, I started realizing this, that I'm like, oh, I have to live out my faith. Not just talk about it, but actually live it out. So what I started doing was I would just read my Bible in front of my family. I would talk to them about faith things, just little things. And saw some huge transformations. My sister moved to Michigan this last summer, called me a couple months later and said, I'm really lonely, I have no friends. All I have is, at her time her fiance, and he was always working. She said, what do I do? I'm like, well, you need to find community. She's like, yeah, I've been thinking of joining a small group at his parents' church. And I was overjoyed. I'm like, go, have fun, hang out with young adults. I did. And she was like, okay. My dad, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, we're driving in the car, and I don't even know what we were talking about. Half our conversations I don't remember. But he says to me, he's like, so what does the Bible say about morality and how to live your life? And I was like, oh, well. He's like, he specifically wanted to know about the Ten Commandments. I was like, well, we'll talk about the Ten Commandments. And then I'll bring up, the New Testament and the Jesus and, the New Commandment. And he was super receptive. He was like, oh, that's cool. I like hearing about that. My mom, she has a friend who is a Christian, and so her Christian friend will be like, oh yeah, I read this Bible verse, or she'll send her like verse text, and my mom's just like, whatever. But sometimes my mom will come to me, and she'll be like, hey, blah blah blah, sent me, because I remember the person's name right now, blah blah blah, sent me this text with this verse. What does it mean? I'm like, oh, pull out my Bible, my big study Bible, and I'm like, let's talk about Jesus right now. And we'll read the verse and we'll break it down. And she no longer is doing the, oh, that's nice, honey. She's like, oh, that's really cool. There's more to this. So if I can leave you with, some hope, there it is. People, when you reflect the image of Christ, people come to Christ. And that's awesome. So the biggest thing, my biggest issue is choose Jesus first. And I'm saying that I'm trying. And so we should all try to do that. That's what we're called to do. So, with that, I have a challenge this week. Faith challenge. Oh, I should put faith challenge on the slide. But challenge this week. Pray for your family every day. So starting tomorrow, we're going to start tomorrow through next Sunday. 7 days. There's 7. That's not difficult, is it? It doesn't even have to be more than like 5 minutes. Okay? I'm not even telling you to do it out loud, like OSL does. You should, though. 5 minutes of prayer every day for the next 7 days. And just pray for your family. Pray for them to either receive blessings or revelations, opportunities for you to speak to them, speak into their lives, and to bring Jesus to them so that they can come closer to Jesus. Don't just tell them you're going to pray for them, actually pray for them. And live it out. Okay? All right, I'm going to pray out. God, we thank you for... Unstoppable.